let's get into the big topic of open source, something that we actually say at Red Hat.
This is so
we
awesome.
are an open culture that believes in the importance of
What is that process that a developer, or let's say,
as the Kubernetes ecosystem really boomed.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is the Ask an OpenShift Expert live stream. Unfortunately, today Andrew Sully is not here. He's on vacation, but he's out doing amazing things. So we'll see him the next time that we come on. It's been a little disjointed lately with our schedule and our calendar. It seems like every time we get started, we end up having to take another break for whatever reason, for personal and professional reasons. Like this year has probably been like one of the craziest years I've had at Red Hat in a good way. Like it's been very busy personally and professionally for me. So just trying to get everything kind of together because it is just pure insanity. Um, so this week we have Peter. I'm going to call you my friend because I feel like at this point, like we've been around each other enough to where like I feel like we can call each other friends. So
Sure.
Peter, I've met a long time ago in Florida. And we just keep casually running into each other in various places, kind of all over. So it's pretty cool. But you and I have worked together kind of a lot on some of the stuff that I'm doing, and then with the stuff that you're doing with OpenShift virtualization. So we have Peter and Kevin on. They're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with the user experience in OpenShift. And yeah, it's been an awesome. I think we've got a nice little series for this year, and like with the stuff that you guys are working on, kind of leading into closing out the year, what you guys are going to be working on next year. So real quick for top of mind, next week we're not gonna have another week where we won't have a stream, but that's just because I'll be out of town and Sully is also going to be on PTO. But we will be back the week after, and I think that's when we're actually gonna do the stream that we intended to do last week or the week before, and the week before, I guess, and the week before that. So whenever we come back that next week after, I guess it's the first week of October, we'll kick off that topic and we'll finally wrap that up. So. If you have any questions, feel free to get them in, and we'll try and get them answered during the stream. So with that said, Peter, I'll kick it over to you. Let's have it.
All right. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and I guess I'd absolutely consider you a friend at this point. So yeah, thank you for that. Thanks again for having us on the stream. So I'm Peter Kreuzer. I'm the UXD team lead, the user experience design team lead for the OpenShift product space here at Red Hat. So just to say a little bit about our department, we have a user experience design department that focuses on the in-product experience across all the products of Red Hat. Ansible, RHEL, OpenShift, we cover it all, anything I didn't name, OpenShift AI, all the AI products. But yeah, so just to mention, Kevin and I, we're from the OpenShift team. We're excited to be here today to talk to you about what's new in OCP Console 4.19. But just to say, our team right now has a large focus on OpenShift Console and specifically the experience of OpenShift virtualization. I think we joined about 2 months ago to talk about the migration toolkit for virtualization. We're back today to talk about OCP, but we'll be back again in a couple months to talk about more virtualization topics, specifically multi-cluster virtualization. But that's my little spiel. Kevin, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks, Jonny. Hi. Everybody, my name is Kevin Hachua. I am the lead UX designer for the core OpenShift platform experience, and it's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you and share all the cool work that our team has been working on to improve the OpenShift experience for all of you. And today, as Peter mentioned, we're going to be talking about the OpenShift console and specifically what's new with the 4.19 release and what's coming within 4.20. Our team has been really hard at work, and this is a collaboration across various groups and various people to really improve the experience as is today to what it could be, right? Given Gen AI, and everything else. And we believe some of the impactful updates that we made in 4.19 would are really gonna be well received, and we hope to get some of your feedbacks and questions around that. And if you don't mind, Jonny, I'm not sure if my screen is being shared yet, but if you can pop that up, that'd be great.
I am on it.
Thank you, sir. All right. So with that being said, here's sort of our plan for the hour. So we start by touching on, I think, one of the significant updates visually for the OpenShift console, which is our revamped UI to adapting the new PatternFly 6 And no, we're gonna get into a little bit of that. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But then we're gonna cover a lot of the work that we've done around unifying the admin and the dev perspective into what we're currently calling the core platform. Next, we'll segue into this new thing that this new ecosystem or software catalog that was recently launched with the 4.19 release as well. We're really, really excited with the possibility and capabilities that this will deliver. And again, really looking forward to hearing what you guys think around that. Finally, we're gonna wrap things up with touching on how we are currently improving or working on improving discoverability of all these various new features that we're talking about. And specifically within the product itself, right? We have emails, we have docs, we have blogs, and today we're exploring how can we enhance that experience within the product. So as user navigating OpenShift, how can they learn, discover all the cool things that we're doing? But yeah, just generally throughout the demo, I think John is mentioning in the chat there. Feel free to interrupt. Feel free to ask questions. This is definitely meant to be a conversation, and less so of a readout and updates. And yeah, with that being said, let's start things off with taking a look at the visual refresh for OpenShift.
And before you get started, Kevin, I just want to say like one thing that I've definitely picked up from Peter and the rest of the team, especially like the UX team, is that you really do want feedback. It's not just a statement, right? It's not, or not an empty statement. It's you really do want the feedback, good, bad, and indifferent. You want to know what people are going through and how they're using the platform and everything, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, we run on feedback, and that's not a gimmick. It's very important for us to understand if you're building the right thing. Because if you need to course correct, if you need to shift or maybe step it up a bit, the earlier we can get feedback around that, the better, and the quicker we can deliver a better experience for the user. So truly, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we'd love to hear it all.
Yeah, nice. And the flip side is you want to know what pisses people off too, so that way you
Absolutely.
can fix it, so that way you're not pushing people away.
Absolutely.
Cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's worth mentioning. It's not just tell us what's great, right? We want to hear what's not working and what can we do better. All right. So yeah, with that, let's get into the UI update as I mentioned. So we recently upgraded the OpenShift console visuals to PatternFly 6, and this is a significant visual update. And then you will notice this right away when you log into the console for OpenShift 4.19 and above. And with PatternFly 6, the console has a cleaner look, more modern interface, and not just for look and feel, but this is really it improves the accessibility of the console as a whole and makes it more consistent across our entire product portfolio. It makes it easier for users to recognize and engage with our navigation pattern between Ansible, OpenShift, and also kind of really creating this more consistent ecosystem of products. It makes it easier for the OpenShift developers to deliver new features to our customers, our users, with a modernized code base, and also makes it easier to just maintain long term, while also providing, as I mentioned earlier, accessibility for all users, including something that you can notice from the two images that I have here from the before and after. We really focused on color contrast and text contrast, as well as just text size, etc. And the main reason for that is we really want to support folks with maybe like sight impairment or color impairment, things like that. Really, just be more of a more accessible platform for all users. And really, the idea here is, these results should be intuitive and familiar and not disruptive, right? So as you navigate through some of this, the idea is it shouldn't feel like there's a seismic shift between what used to be to what is. And as opposed to me just talking about it, let me kind of dive into it. So this is the new look and feel of OpenShift with PatternFly 6. So if you're the first time logging in, there's this little tour that we've launched into kind of give a soft landing spot for our users. And if you choose to engage with that, it will walk you through the various things that have changed around the console. I'm gonna get into a lot of this, in a little bit, but I kind of want to focus more on the visual updates of the console. So from what we had previously, it was sort of a mix of light mode and dark mode. And today we really focused on providing more consistent experience. So if users choose light mode, everything will be, light mode. If you choose dark mode, everything will be dark mode, as opposed to what you see on the first screen here, which is a mix of both. Additionally, we made things a bit more modern. As I mentioned, colors. So if you go to like a dashboard, we really try to bring attention to the things that matter. So things like status colors, link colors. Make sure those things are very legible, clearly accessible for our users. And something that I was going to mention, another thing I was going to mention quickly is, beyond just the modern look as well, we are currently, this is not something we have implemented yet, but because we want to be very careful around how we do this, but we're also looking at animations for PatternFly 6. So for users, maybe let's say like as that's collapsing or engaging with the UI, you want to make that feel a little bit more smooth and intuitive. When they're loading particular screens, we want to show that data is being loaded, as opposed to a blank screen and then automatically populate with certain things. When we have some notifications, right, we have sliding animation kind of built into the interaction, just kind of providing that additional set of nice layer of more modern feel and more look and feel. And yeah, so I had the notification pop up that was gonna show it up here. But as notification pops, these things typically just kind of slide in and out as well. But as I mentioned, we currently don't have these implemented yet, but we're currently working on that as part of the whole PatternFly 6 revamp. But we want to be very careful around how we implement animation, because we don't want to add more noise to the UI. We want to implement them where it makes sense to do so, essentially. So those are some of the changes that came with the whole visual revamp. And maybe, I guess I'm curious if there are any general feelings or reaction with the direction that we're going with here.
Yeah, I noticed right away, like when 419 first dropped into, I think it was like, it might have been fast. I can't remember if I went to fast or if I just waited for stable. But yeah, I noticed that like even on the login screen, you have like the different shading around the login boxes. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, that is actually really nice. I like that a lot. And it feels like it's less. I don't know. There's like this is something that's definitely like evolved, because if I go back to OpenShift 3 days, it was clunky, it was hard to use the UI, and I literally never used the UI just because I couldn't, like I just couldn't. And then as we progress and as OpenShift itself has progressed and gotten better and more mature, like I feel like you're getting all the information that you need at the time that you need it, instead of, and it's easy to navigate now, which I think is it's awesome.
fantastic. No, I love to hear that. Again, another key thing behind the video changes, just to make sure like things are easier for users to find, and we're calling attention to the things that actually matter. So as you guys are using this new version of OpenShift, if there you have any feedback, any things that maybe need more attention on, or things that might seem more confusing than were previously, we would love to hear more around that.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, it looks good, man. Like I'm really happy with from a user perspective, right? I'm really happy with how it's shaping.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I
Yeah,
guess if you
so
don't mind, I
go
put in
ahead.
one little plug here. So this Patternfly design system, as Kevin mentioned, this is the 6th version of it. This is open source, so if you have a need to develop a tool, whether it's like vibe coding or whatever you want to do, you can make use of Patternfly to do that. We use it internally for all our Red Hat products for a consistent look and feel. But I did just want to mention it is open source, so go ahead and try it out if you want to check it out.
Yeah, no, that's a great plug. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, so I guess I'll segue to the next section here, which is the unified perspective. And yeah, so I guess, yeah, um, historically, OpenShift has had two perspectives, the admin and dev perspective, which users could access by switching up here. Right now, we just have the vert perspective showing up, but typically there'll be admin and dev. That's because that's been turned off. But let me show you what that would look like. Unfortunately, I just closed my window. I can quickly adjust that. But the reason why we also looked at combining this perspective is, given the earlier versions, given the purpose why we had these separated, was to support two specific user persona, which was the admin and the developer with specific jobs to be done, in order to accomplish that. But as OpenShift has evolved, this split became increasingly limiting for our users. And looking at data, data analytics, as well as gathering some feedback, from users directly, we've learned that, we confirmed that the split view creates a lot of friction. Our analytics shows that more than half of our users are often jumping between the admin and developer perspective in order to actually complete, do the things that it's trying to get done. And when we're thinking through, whether you're a developer and admin, most of the time they tend to maybe wear more than one hat. So with that, we started exploring what if we could maybe potentially bring these together to start closing the gap around that. So that's what the unified perspective is about, and I was gonna quickly enable that
That is hilarious. I didn't even notice that.
on the previous screen.
Yeah, I mean, just because
That's
I have my cluster up, and so
yeah.
I didn't even notice that was it. That is awesome.
Well, no, that's good to hear. Because we did want to make sure that the changes were pretty subtle. And so if if it's something that kind of flew over, that's good, right? We want to make it as less disruptive as possible. I'm just gonna pull up the old UI here just for context. Just bear with me here real quick.
Yep.
I thought I had this up already. So this is what we currently have today, and so this touches on both the mix, dark mode, light mode, as well as the UI revamp. We went from just the traditionally squarey or boxy UI to a more rounded, more modern look. And yet,
Hmm.
and previously, user had to use this menu to navigate between the admin or the dev based on what type of role they had. And today, everything is all consolidated under a new role called core platform. Again, you have to
Hmm.
forgive me for these little mishaps here. My screen is not loading. I would be turning this off, but every time you demo something, things go wrong. But the only reason why we're currently seeing a drop down here is because the virtualization operator has been installed. So it allows users to jump between the core platform to virtualization. Okay, there we go. So I can, that's the only reason we're currently seeing this. Otherwise, what you're going to see called administrators, the core platform has everything, has the administrator view, it has the developer view. And what that looks like, if I were to jump back onto our guided tool here. So with the guided tool, we try to educate users on this is where everything that you might be used to, this is where you will find them, such as the developer catalog is now within the software catalog. That's another topic we touched on in a little bit. Importing from YAML from Git is now very easily accessible from the very top nav, as well as the ability to modify preferences. Another thing that I'll add with this unified view is because we certain users there had certain pages or resources that they default to, we added a new favorite section to make it easy for folks to, well, if you just want to look at maybe let's say the pod page, you can add that to your pod page. You can name it whatever you want, and then you appear here, and you can always have easy access to that without having to navigate elsewhere. And you can do that with literally, I believe, every resource page available within console today. Again, sorry for the latency on my end. It's a little lag going on. But yeah, so and one thing that we wanted to make sure we support is if folks had dedicated view and dedicated resources that they defer to for the admin and dev view, hopefully this favoriting feature would allow them to quickly categorize or bookmark the things that they actually care about. Otherwise, we want to provide, instead of providing this constant context switching between users, we structured everything within the same view. So developers can access topology within the workload view. They have access to the Helm charts within the screen and the dev catalog as well. So everything has just sort of been brought together to kind of provide a unified and cohesive experience. And this made me wonder just how often maybe you, Jonny, or maybe our audience here are switching between these two views.
So for me personally, like it was one of those things where like if I'm doing a demo, I typically would go from my admin window over to the developer context. I'd make that switch so that way I could just kind of focus on the application itself. But what's funny is like I didn't even I did a demo yesterday for a customer and I didn't even recognize that I didn't have to make that switch. I was able to go, I saw workloads and I just automatically I was like, oh, that's where I need to be. And so I
Yeah.
just went there without even thinking about it. That's pretty freaking funny that I didn't even catch that. Uh, because that's awesome. And I'm using like the latest, I think it was like 4.9.11 or something like that, or 4.9.9, something like that. So 4.19.11 or 4.19.9, I can't remember. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only time I really use it. Other than that, like um I will generally just log into the admin console and poke around if I need to, but generally I'm a CLI person. So
Gotcha. Yeah, and again, thanks for saying that. But yeah, again, that's really what we're aiming for is with all these various changes, we are not trying to break the experience. We're not trying to really, systematically change how people used to work. So the fact that some of these things are almost unnoticed, but now you're still able to find the things that you wanted to do or are looking for without necessarily noticing, how big the changes were is really what we're aiming for. And I just pulled up this screen to show you because I was having some issues with the other demo that I had here. So this is that unified perspective without any drop down, without any operator installed. So the first time you log in, this is what you see, and your home menu. If you don't have anything added to your favorite, there's nothing there. But as I mentioned, you can pretty much add any pages under that favorite and choose to name it whatever you want, etc.
oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And again, as I mentioned right at the beginning of this particular section is historically it was dev admin, but we read another reason beyond just trying to bridge these two together because people are jumping between one and the other. We also really trying to support some of the modern platform roles or platform teams that exist today, such as platform engineer, SREs, application developers, product owners, QA, securities, right? So there's many people wearing different hats doing various things that their split perspective did not necessarily always account for. So we're trying to sort of provide an experience that support the majority of roles of people who are engaging with OpenShift.
And I think when you're doing like when you're working with customers and stuff like that too, and you're like, oh, well, switch to the developer construct or context, and let's go do it from here. I feel like that you just people can get lost, right? And like having it all in one spot, it's really nice because then you can, all right, hey, look, go to the workloads drop down, go to deployments, find your deployment, and do your thing. It feels like it's much more. You can be much more surgical from here instead of having to like jump to another context, then search for it, and then do your thing.
Yeah. No, I love to hear that because again, at the end of the day, our goal is to reduce that context switching and the whole
Hmm.
cognitive load of, oh, I'm here and then I'm here, and just makes it easier for your workflow on a day to day and also troubleshooting when something goes wrong. Everything is all in one place versus have to switch context of exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and you're not like, oh, I'm in the wrong one.
I
Yeah,
guess
no,
if
I
I
mean, go
can
ahead,
plug a
Peter.
little bit of how we work. So like combining these two perspectives, like I mean, one of the key things was that we're now putting all the items that were in admin and all the items that were in dev in one place. So like inevitably the list would get fairly long. So just thinking about how we can intuitively group those together, like that's how we spend our time. Like those are the type of UX things that we consider. And Kevin already showed it, but we definitely are relying on the favoriting to like allow users to build their like customized list of the screens they use the most. So hopefully you don't have to be like digging around in the entire list all the time. So I just wanted to mention that that's like part of what our team does.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Peter. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, I was just thinking, like, yeah, you're right. It is like you moved everything over to the side, and it doesn't look like it's overloaded. Like it's pretty well done.
Glad to hear
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, no, plus one. I was also going to mention we also are aware that this view, not everybody would react the way that you're reacting, Johnny. Like not everybody say, "Oh no, this is great." So we definitely within the getting started card, we have the ability, we have a quick start to help folks walk through. Well, if I want to re-enable the developer perspective, how to actually do that. So we have just a step-by-step guide to, have them do that. Also, this could be maybe just org based, right? Some people might want to have this split specifically based on how their orgs are structured. So it's definitely an easy thing to turn back on for those who prefer to have the split view. Just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So just so you know, I'm naturally optimistic and easy to
Yeah.
please. So yeah, but I do get fired up about things too, right? Like especially if I'm using something and it's a pain for me to use, I will completely it'll be a hard stop for me. If it gets on my nerves, like I will stop using it. And so like, the fact that like Sully, I see him using the console all the time, and I'm jealous because he's able to just like flip around and he can move. And so that's actually where like when I'm doing demos for my customers and stuff like that, like it's easier for people to consume information when you're showing them pictures and you're walking through like a GUI and stuff like that versus the CLI and they're watching you typo and do stuff like that. So the fact that like I can use the console now and do pretty much anything that I need or want to do in the console, I think it's awesome. And again, I wish I would have caught it yesterday because I would have called it out in my demo. Like I'm completely shocked that I missed the developer thing being gone. That's awesome.
Love to hear it. Now, please, when you take a time to keep poking at it and let us know what we can improve or maybe what we should keep.
Yeah, for
Thank you
sure.
so much. All right, so moving on to the software catalog. Today we have the operator hub. We have Helm chart. Oh, well, maybe show me, don't tell me. Right. So today, as think well for 418, I should say today because today we have 419 and above. But in the previous version of OpenShift, we have the operator hub, we have the dev catalog on the developer side. Right, we have this little catalog where developer can come and pick various things to install or consume. We had the hem charts, and so just a variety of different catalog users could leverage. And so given that we try to really understand, we try to step in the shoes of the common OpenShift users. Having all these various catalog can be sometimes a bit challenging to understand where to go to find what you need and creates a bit more of a fragmented experience than what is desired. Um, and so we're really trying to what we're trying to do with the software catalog is bridge that gap, right? It's make it easier for folks to discover what they need as opposed to jumping between views and maybe even sometimes looking at duplicate items. And this is where OLMv1 comes in, which is Operator Lifecycle Management version 1. Currently, we are running on Operator Lifecycle v0. So with these capabilities of v1 coming live, we have the opportunity to create a single unified catalog that makes it easier for our users to find, install, consume, and manage the software that they care about much faster and much less prone to errors. And we can leverage these functionalities to abstract away a lot of the complexity that came with OLMv0 or that comes with just installing and managing operators or software or layered products as a whole via a single API that is now provided via OLMv1. In short, right, OLMv0 is the legacy system that we've been using for
Mhm.
years, and it's very manual, it's CRD heavy, and it requires a lot of user input through installation, through updates, and just troubleshooting and all of that. And there's very little room today for improving the experience. That's why the team have introduced OLMv1, which is the next generation of that. It gives us a lot more simpler architecture with predictable upgrades and makes it easier for folks to sort of prepare for the future as they upgrade their cluster. They can prepare the operators to also upgrade and make sure they're compliant with the clusters prerequisites and all. So with this update, we're hoping to make the experience, the user experience, a lot smoother. And as I mentioned previously when I was talking about the unified perspective, this should all feel natural and not disruptive or else. So let me, I guess, get into what that actually looks like. I quickly touched on this when I was showcasing some of the unified perspective stuff. But today we have this section. Let me close everything else so it's not so confusing. So within the nav, we used to have the operator catalog, which is under the administrator perspective. We have the operator view, operator hub, and then installed operator. And today, now that we bring in more than just the operator hub into a central, almost like you can think of it like a shopping center on Amazon for your layered products, we are calling it this ecosystem. And under that, we have the catalog itself, as well as a place to see all the installed things. So right now you can see there's nothing installed. So that would just kind of send me back to the software catalog. And from here, I have my operators, I have my my dev files, I have my Helm charts, I have my pipelines, I have all the things that were previously scattered all around the UI. And I can essentially use this filter to drill down into the specific type of software I'm looking for, or use search to do exactly that. And I touched on previously, right now this is still running on OLM 0. So this first step was bringing everything together while still supporting OLM 0. And I think I think the next step would be to then introduce V1 alongside V0, which I think I have it quickly here just to give you guys an idea of what that might look like. Actually, I've had this ready already. So we have pretty much enable users to swap or filter between OLM V0. Do you want to see OLM V0 stuff only, or do you want to see OLM V1 stuff only? Eventually, OLM V0 will be deprecated, and everything here would just be OLM V1. But we're working on introducing OLM V1 gradually over time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is like the new and improved catalog. So everything that you will find in Helm, which if I was to go here, now that there's a Helm chart installed, but if there were no Helm chart installed here, right, I'll be kicked back to the software catalog, which will show me those Helm charts essentially. So everything is just now in one place and much easier to search, find, and manage for our customers. Any any general reactions around that? What is the naming? What is the idea of dev files being coupled with operators, being coupled with Helm charts? Just any thoughts around that?
Not personally. Like I haven't looked into I very quickly looked into the OLMV1 thing, and I can't remember what it was that we were looking at. Anyways, I can't remember, but there was a thing that we were getting spun up about because we do a lot of we do automation using GitOps, and so it's fundamentally going to change how we do some of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember what it was right now, and I feel bad for not having a good question for you. I did want to say that Shiraj did make a comment about switching between the contexts, and it's just saying that from their point of view, they mainly use the admin view. It's
Mm-hmm.
for managing storage, networking, and cluster operations, stuff like that. So instead of switching between the different contexts, so we got one reply.
Noted. So I guess I'm curious if this new view, Sharad, if you maybe want to expand on that. If this new view, do you see it maybe creating some hiccups in that particular workflow? Just having introduced the dev stuff within the admin view, or else?
All right, so Shiraj says that they have a lot of queries now and they're confused about where to start. And so my reply
Okay.
back to that is just go with what feels right. Just go with the first thing that pops in your head and we'll try and answer it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah. No.
see here you,
Definitely.
you you have templates up here, right? Like, these are all OpenShift templates.
Yes.
And I don't, this is probably not the right forum for this, but like, are as these things get deprecated, right? Like because I feel like OpenShift templates are an API, an OpenShift API that's eventually going to be deprecated, right?
Mhm.
Um, in lieu of Helm charts and customized applications and stuff like that. So is that something that's going to just kind of like naturally, as things deprecate out, it'll just naturally fade away and there will be backwards compatibility? Or is it something where like it'll go through like a normal deprecation cycle where it's like, hey, in 421 we're going to deprecate, or we're deprecating this feature and it'll
Mhm.
be removed in 422. Is that typically how you guys remove things?
That's something that we're actually currently in discussion with the OLM team and the ecosystem team. Because there's a lot of things that are already deprecated in here, but the reason why we still have them in the catalog is we have some customers with certain version of OpenShift still running these. So
Mm,
we still wanted to make sure they were available. But yeah, we are currently trying to figure out what exactly should that process look like. Number one is definitely letting folks know, hey, this version of OpenShift, this this operator or this template is no longer supported, you might want to upgrade to the next version. But otherwise, beyond that, we're trying to figure out a better way to support those who are still on that while nudging them into upgrading and eventually cleaning up the catalog itself to show the things that are more relevant versus deprecated items.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Is
and
that?
you said something there, and
Mhm.
I'm keying in on it because like there's situations where like you deal with like I mean I deal with all kinds of operators, different products and stuff like that, but it I get frustrated when uh something gets deprecated and like there might be like a something that's important, right? Like a spec change or a feature change or something like that gets removed or something like that, and there's little to no mention of it in a release note. There's no pop up in the console or anything like that. Like
Right.
I feel like if especially things that are critical, we do a good job of like upgrades, right? If you're gonna upgrade from one release to the next, then there's going to be something that breaks or some potential breakage, right? Well, I think we do a really good job of calling that out. Like, hey, we're not going to let you upgrade, or you need to be aware of this. You need to go research this. I feel like it, especially in the console, if you're going to deprecate something out, and this isn't just for you, this is really for all of our products and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But if hey, we're gonna change this spec, right? There's gonna be an API change, or we're gonna change some feature, or we're gonna remove a feature. Have that be a pop-up that you have to acknowledge, or do something to silence it because um, not all of us have time to go back and read the release notes of every single release to figure out if we've got that one feature that needs to be if that one thing that we're automating gets removed and now it breaks all your automation. So just I'm venting out loud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
I would
mean,
react to that if you don't mind, Kevin. That's
please.
extremely good feedback. Honestly, one thing that we've been spending our time thinking about is how do we surface like, new features of OpenShift Console, which we have different paradigms that Kevin's shown, like the what's new, that type of thing. But that's like the other side of it. That's a great point. Like, is there something more that we could be doing to just highlight, like, this is going to be deprecated more than just having users have to go and parse the release notes themselves. So thanks for that feedback. This is exactly an example of the type of thing we're looking to hear. So appreciate it.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no, well said, Peter. Well said. Yeah, I mean, since we're talking about, education around new features and notifications, I was mainly feel like maybe the next topic is going to be more relevant. But before I move on to that, just curious if there were any other chats, comments, maybe in the Slack, I mean, in the chat from the team, from the audience generally.
Yeah. So Shiraj is asking about NM state and stuff like that, but yeah, you're good to move forward.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Maybe we could circle back on that. For sure. All right. So my next topic here is we're talking about how can we inform folks. Well, this is not necessarily around alerting people that something might be wrong or might be deprecated and it needs to take actions, but rather we've been exploring how can we keep users informed around what's new in the console, what's changing. So beyond just I touched on this when I was going through the agenda, but beyond just you guys going through blogs, maybe getting an email notification, or having to catch up to Slack forums, we want to figure out a better ways to keep you informed as to, hey, this is new. Some people click, we have the tour, but you also notice that sometimes that's skipped. We have a quick start, you have the getting started card. So this is just another way for us to explore if we can continue to explore how we can improve the learning experience as a whole and keep nudging new feature adoption and engagement. So I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this. And this is not something that's available today. This is what's coming with 420. So everything that we've seen thus far is all in the 419 release. So 419 and above should if you were to log in today, you'll see everything that we've displayed. So click around, check it out, and reach out to us. And this is something that we're still working on. We're doing some user research around it right now, but yeah, I want to show it to you guys as well to see if we can get some direct feedback, to see if you're going down the right path. And generally, like this is just I'm gonna get into it, and I'm gonna share a better screen in this. But this is us. The idea is we have this new favorite feature. How can we highlight it? We have this new software catalog. How we pull more attention to it? So what that sort of looks like today is this thing. I hope this is visible enough. I can zoom in a little bit more.
It
So
looks
you're looking at the OpenShift console. So this is a user being logged in. We'll essentially have this new section at the very top of the nav. It's collapsible, so if you don't care to see this, you can always close it out. But if you don't close it, it will always be there. And so just for if somebody maybe missed it, you want to make sure it doesn't just go away unwittingly. So within this section, users will be able to see all the things that I discussed today, right? Which is, hey, we have this new unified perspective, which is one place for you to find all the things that you need. Give a little more context around, what exactly that is. I touched mentioned on favoriting, right? So we want to highlight those features as well. So this is just kind of some sample data on what this could be. And yeah, I was just very curious if this, you perceive this as something that could be helpful to understand the changes that are coming with each upgrade. Because really the goal is to encourage, as I mentioned, exploration and adoption of these various features, and as well as provide a more curated, in-product learning experience. So there might be a bunch of stuff that go out with each release, but there are some key features that we want to highlight, and this is really the goal that is the goal of this page is to serve that. And from here as well, right, as you're looking at all the cool things, you can always launch your thought from it and say, okay, cool, well, show me what those new things are. And this store would pretty much walk the user through the various changes. So yeah, before I segue, some of the questions that I had was, how typically do you guys discover and learn about new features? What is your preferred type of learning? Is it docs? Should we spend more time on docs, alerting, emails, tours, maybe more content types like this, as well as just your general, reaction and things that can be improved with this particular pattern? And with that segue.
Yeah, I like the little alarm bell that you can go back to, because I'm the dude that skips the tour every single time.
You wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged every single
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. No, that's definitely, with that comment, that's one of the reasons why we continuously exploring. How can we make sure that, hey, some things might work for some users, maybe to even explore video content types, right? Like audio, whatever it may be, we're continuously refining how we can help educate users on what's new. So, if this is something that could be useful, we definitely love to explore a bit further. If there may be other avenues that we should be considering or have missed, that's another thing that we'd love to hear more about.
Yeah, I'm curious for this is where like I wish I was still kind of in consulting, because I think a lot of times when back in my consulting days, right, a lot of the first, I don't know, the first few days I'll say of like introducing people to OpenShift, it's really walking people through the console and getting them comfortable with it and stuff like that. Where like
Mhm.
today, my view of the world is much more like day two. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
um, like having a nice interface to do the demos from and kind of interact from and being able to do everything I need to do from is pretty awesome. But I'm just putting that consulting hat back on. I'd love to talk to some of my cohorts over on the architect side or the consulting side and see what they think, because I feel like they're the ones that are probably going to be walking through this the most, like your solution architects and stuff like that. The
Yeah,
people that are on the business end of the customer side.
that makes sense. All right. Peter, any other thoughts on your side?
No, yeah, that you covered it well. We're excited to like share like what's new in the OpenShift console via these type of screens. Also, we'll probably be back on this stream for hopefully for 420 and have more to talk about. But yeah, thanks for covering it, Kevin.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. And there's a lot of other exciting stuff that we're currently working on. But no, we kind of want to give you guys bite size of what's happening. And so these are some of the main things that we've delivered so far. So please, we really, again, if just to beat that old drum again, we'd love to hear what you guys think about the current changes. And yeah, and feel free to always reach out to us. Happy to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good job. No, I love it, man. And I do always think of like the experience of OpenShift 3. OpenShift 3 was awesome for its time, like it did its thing. But I remember I would never, I mean, ever use that UI. And it was just because like it was clunky to me. It didn't really make sense. It didn't flow well. And again, it was easier for me to do everything from the shell than it was for me to do it from the UI. And I feel like now it's toss up, right? Like I'm just more comfortable typing it out. because I feel like that's a process how I think now with my hands, and it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. But I do a lot of demos, and I do a lot of like the live streams and stuff like that, and it is so much easier to be able to go through and have use the UI and enable the web terminal and do everything that you need to do from one spot. I think it's awesome, and I'm glad that you guys are making the improvements that you're making, because it does look awesome. And the 419 changes just alone, like I said, I upgraded, and before I even logged in, I noticed right away that it was different, and I was like, it looks
Awesome.
really sharp. I love the dark. Like it looks really good.
Thanks, Johnny. Thank you. And I guess I'll be remiss if I didn't say this. We are also definitely still we will continue, like although we are currently focusing on improving the UI for certain use cases. The CLI is not something that we're forgetting, right? Like we're still continuously improving that experience as well. So if you have any feedback around that and things that we can do better there, for those who prefer that, that's something we also love to hear.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest. Yeah, I feel it's an evolution, right? And it's the product itself is evolving, it's getting better and stuff like that. And I'm curious to see how OLM v1, like the net effect of that, like once it drops and gets implemented or mainstream. I'm kind of curious how that's gonna, roll out. So I don't know.
We'll be back with some updates.
Yeah, can't wait.
For sure.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and I can't help but notice there's some comments in the chat for this around network policy configuration, that type of thing. I just wanted to mention again that we're actually very focused on OpenShift virtualization right now, our UX design team. And so one of the areas that we are focused on particularly is network configuration, just because we do hear customers that are coming to OpenShift virtualization from other hypervisors. They have expectations that maybe it's going to be more of a UI-driven flow, whereas today a lot of it is configured via YAML. It doesn't have an inherent flow to it. So that is something that I just wanted to mention that we are definitely focusing on. And we hear if anybody else is experiencing pain points around that today, we'd love to get that feedback. Feel free to reach out to us or Jonny, and we could probably get in touch. But just wanted to mention that is something that we're focused on.
Yeah, for sure. And Shiraj, I don't know if that answered your question or not, or if that's what you're looking for, but I'm going to do the unfortunate thing, and I'm going to have to punt to Sully, because Sully is definitely our resident expert on, pretty much anything OpenShift virtualization and like NM state and all this stuff. So he'll be back in our next stream. So if you want to come back, feel free, or if you want to shoot me an email, I'll make sure that he gets it, or somebody gets it, and we can get your questions answered. But yeah, and we mentioned it earlier when Kevin first started, but Peter and Kevin and their team, they're looking for all feedback. They want to know what's working well. They want to know what's what could be better. I see what you did there, Kevin. They want to know what could be better. They also want to know the things that really just grind your gears, right? That get you fired up, that like in a bad way. Like, what do you not like about it? What could be improved upon? And that doesn't have to be a UI thing. It's about the experience of the tool itself, right? So yeah, take advantage of it, because I think you have a pretty open forum, and you have two guys that are really easy to work with and really do want to take your feedback and make the product better. So I do encourage you to do that. And if you want to use Sully and I as the intermediary, feel free. I'm Jonny at redhat.com, and Sully is SULLY at redhat.com. Or you can always find us in Slack. So yeah, definitely hit us up, and we'll get your question answered.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I'll mention, I think we alluded to it earlier, but we have plans to join the live stream again, hopefully as the UXD team, hopefully touching on some of the multi-cluster virtualization topics, which are of interest lately. Also just generally virtualization topics, like including the networking items. So we'll bring some of our work there. And also, I just want to mention that we're also focused on advanced cluster security, ACS. So hopefully sometime maybe early in the new year, we'll be back with the latest design work there. So just wanted to mention what's coming from us.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
And AI. Maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself here.
Can you even jump ahead with AI at this point? Like, I feel like everybody's. I feel like that's as you might as well just say OpenShift at this point with AI, right?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, a lot of our work is just steeped in it. Thinking about how OpenShift Lightspeed, if anybody out there is using that today, we have plans for how to incorporate that more into the UI throughout OpenShift Console if you have it configured. So just wanted to mention that.
Nice. Nice. Well, Peter, Kevin, thank you guys for coming on. I really do appreciate it. And Peter, I'm sorry for not being more organized. I am trying to. I'm finally getting my life back together, and so as I get more settled in and back into my routine, like I will be better about scheduling and stuff like that. But just the last 3 months have just been complete chaos for me. So
You're good, man. Sounds like a lot of life changes, so don't sweat it. It's all good. Happy to be
all
here.
at once, yeah, awesome. Well, I'm glad to see you again, man. I'm glad you're doing well, and glad that you guys were able to make it on. Kevin, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate you, and
Thank you.
excellent presentation and demo. Really enjoyed talking with you today, man.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Jonny.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, cool. So we won't be here next week. We'll be both Sully and I will be out. You're good, dude. Jumping the gun. Uh, both Sully and I will be out, but we'll be back the week after. And yeah, if you have any questions, hit us up and we'll try and get them answered, or we'll queue them up and bring them to the stream. So everybody have a great week, and we'll see you.